Evening, everybody. I see here. Touch on a couple things for you and see how it goes. First off, President Biden, he pretty much depleted our national petroleum surplus, for emergencies, and it is currently down to about 17%. And I find this strange because he did it because he was helping China, partly, and reducing the cost of fuel for consumers. Yet, his first day in office, he destroyed the pipeline, and he pretty much stopped all oil production, or reduced it, and he definitely stopped exploration for new locations to drill for oil. Prior to Biden taking over the U.S. as president, we were like the top producer of oil in the world. We were beating out Saudi Arabia. So now the strategic petroleum reserve is down to approximately 17%, and President Biden says he is not going to refill it because, quote unquote, it's too expensive to purchase oil right now. If it's too expensive to purchase oil, drill for oil, you moron. How hard is it to say, drill, baby, drill? But he won't do that because he wants to see the country suffer. Just like you have right now 20 million approximately illegals in the country within the last 3.5 years. And here's a little interesting perk to brighten your day. When President Trump was in office, we barely got illegals from China to hit the 300 person mark. Last year alone, over 24,000 Chinese illegals came into the U.S. The vast majority of them Southern California, near our military bases in San Diego. This year alone, you're at almost 23,000 Chinese illegals. Don't tell me it's not an invasion. That's foolish to say that. Biden allowed those so-called observation weather balloons to fly directly over top of U.S. military installations when he could have shot it down when it was over Alaska. He chose not to. He let it fly over top of parts of the ocean coming down from Alaska. He didn't shoot it down in. He let it fly and photograph and send all their electronic data back to China. And we never would have known about it had it not been for a civilian who happened to observe it and photograph it with his equipment. So, is Biden an agent of Communist China? Sure seems to be that way. And let's change tactics and talk about what's going on in Gaza between the fight of Hamas and Israel. Now, everyone knows that Hamas is a terrorist organization currently funded by Iran. We also know that Hamas last reported reports where they had about 30,000 members hiding out in Gaza. Now, supposedly, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken told Israel that they have to start protecting the civilians and ensuring that, food and water supplies, essentials, made it into Gaza. And they also told Israel they have to start reducing what they're doing and stop fighting back. They want them to seek peace at any cost. Well, here's the question. In 2005, Israel notified all the Israeli citizens that were living in Gaza, you have to move. You have to all leave Gaza and return to Israel. After they did that, they stated to the people living in Gaza, all we want is peace. Leave us alone. We will trade with you. We will help you if you ask, but we do not want any more attacks upon our citizens. The people in Gaza wound up electing Hamas to become technically their government, their leadership. Israel's been under attack ever since 2005 because of that action of the people living in Gaza. Now, Israel says they're tired of it. We're going to destroy the entire snake, not just cut the head off. I agree with that. But here's the thing. Why haven't the people that live in Gaza fought back against Hamas? You outnumber these people 10-1, easy. Maybe even 20-1. So why aren't you fighting back? You have the ability to do so. Are you really that much of a bunch of sheep that one man with a gun can cower 100 of you? Makes no sense. None whatsoever. If the people in Gaza rose up and fought back against Hamas, gathered up Hamas, tied them, you don't have to kill them, tie them up, and turn them over to Israel. You get rid of Hamas out of Gaza, I can almost guarantee you that Israel will help you rebuild, because they only want peace in the region. But they do not want to be victims of terrorist activities anymore. And the United States should stay out of it. So should NATO. It's not their fight. It's not our fight. If someone came here and started killing family members that I know and taking their newborn children and throwing them in microwaves or cutting their heads off, I wouldn't stop either until they were all destroyed. And that's what Israel is going to do to Hamas. And if Hezbollah and the Houthis interfere, they're going to be next on the list. It's time to wipe out the terrorists once and for all. Look what happened because of Biden. ISIS is now back on the rise again. President Trump got rid of ISIS. Biden brought it back. Now ISIS has already attacked people in Russia, and there are reports of other countries in Europe that are currently facing ISIS terror attacks. So I think it's time to put an end to terrorists once and for all. And if Joe Biden doesn't want to understand that, actually it's not Joe Biden. It's the master behind Joe Biden. Joe Biden's a puppet. He couldn't make his own decisions if his life depended upon it right now. He is a tool. And someone suggests that this is actually Obama's third term and he is telling Joe what to do behind the scenes. So is Joe Biden. I mean, look what they did. They removed all religious symbols from the White House. The children for the Easter egg hunt were told they couldn't have religious symbols upon the drawings or on the Easter eggs because it was offensive. To who? This country is predominantly Christian. So who are they offending? Oh, the transgenders, that's who. The psychos, that's who. The people that think that they have the right to dictate to everyone, yet scream for democracy. Well, let's put some democracy into effect. The United States is approximately a little over 350 million people live here in the United States, citizens. Out of that 350 million, 9% of that number is gay and lesbian. But out of that 9%, less than 1% of that are transgender. So you're talking about approximately, I'm just doing the math in my head, 50,000, give or take, transgenders in the United States that are causing all this problem. And they scream about democracy and equality. Well, in a democracy, the majority rules. And if 91% of the country is straight, stay out of the way, go back into the closet, quit causing problems. Because you're going to get your wish. you're going to get recognized. Right now, the group NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association, stated a decade ago that because the gays have gotten the right to marry who they want, love who they want, they're going to use the same tactics so that they can target children. This is what's going on with all these drag queens doing their crap in front of young kids. It's time to stop the foolishness. Time to take the country back. ICY.